Good afternoon, you guys. Welcome back to Spillin' It.
Welcome back. Today we have special guest Julie.
Yeah.
And she is going to share all the ins and outs of being the wife of a coach and coach's wife life.
Our crazy life.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's get into how you met your
Okay.
husband and
Yeah.
you and where you grew
Yeah.
up and all that.
So we are from Napa, California, and I was born and raised in Napa and lived there in the same house with my parents until the night before we got married. And we
Oh,
met.
wow.
Yeah, so we
Sounds
met
like
around
Yep.
Yeah.
old school family. Like my parents just straight up told me, like, you're not moving out until you get married. So that's what
Okay.
happened. And people think
Yeah.
it's crazy, but we've been married for 12 years. So we met in 2009. I knew of him. We worked at a gym. So kind of like a lifestyle type of gym, or
Sure.
sorry,
Lifetime?
lifetime.
Lifetime,
We,
yeah.
we are members.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we met, and I just knew him as a trainer there, and I worked the front desk. Long story short, we started dating, and we dated probably for about a year and a half, and then we're engaged for a year and a half, got married
Mm-hmm.
after that, 2013. So now we're going to celebrate our 12-year anniversary this month.
Us? Well, what's your anniversary date?
Oh my
May
gosh.
27th. Oh gosh, May 25th.
Ours is the
I thought she was
26th.
going to say the 26th. Ours
Yeah,
is the 26th.
No,
Yeah.
wait. So
Yeah.
my birthday is the 24th, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
I knew we were having that outdoor wedding in Napa, and
Yep.
We had an outdoor wedding
yeah,
too.
I just thought, okay, my birthday history. When has it rained on my birthday? It never has rained on my birthday. So we are getting married the day after my birthday. So I know that we have some sunshine.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's what happened. Yeah.
And you got sunshine?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
good.
It was pretty
That's
hot.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Ours was, in Minnesota, so it's not as exciting as Napa.
But
You
it
know,
was like
hot.
95 degrees and humid.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny because kind of a spring in Minnesota, like early spring in Minnesota is like a winter day in Napa.
Yeah.
It is. It's an expensive area to live in, but
Yeah.
people pay for
Yeah.
nice, mild weather.
Yeah,
I would
I bet.
love to visit.
Oh,
I've never even
yeah.
been.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
We've talked
We
about
gotta
taking
go.
a trip to
If you guys
Napa.
go, we have all.
Yeah, we'll reach out
Yeah.
Yep.
when we decide to take our trip.
Yeah.
Yep. It's actually our 19th anniversary this year,
Oh my
and
gosh.
next
Yep.
year will be 20.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
It's crazy.
that's
So,
crazy. Yeah, I know. When I say 12, I'm like, that sounds like so long, but it
Yeah.
also feels like it's flown by.
I
and
bet.
Yeah.
we have lived like 1,000 lives in between. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you? So you were at the front desk. You weren't
Yeah.
a trainer.
No.
At
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was there, and like I said, I kind of knew of him, and it's a silly story because my husband's 12 years older than I am. So my friend that also worked there, she's like, Scott's going to want to get married pretty soon. And I kind of went into the relationship knowing that, hey, we're going to probably not date for a long time and get married pretty soon. But
Yeah.
I was in college, and I graduated college 2 weeks later. That's when our wedding happened. So
Okay.
got college out of the way,
Yep.
and then we did that. So when we were dating, he was a high school coach, a high school basketball coach.
Okay.
Got it.
And then he was interning at one of the universities close in the Bay Area, UC Berkeley.
Mhm.
So when we were dating, I already knew that he's a coach. He's going to be a coach. And once we got married, he was working there as a strength and conditioning coach at UC Berkeley with basketball and other sports as well. So I kind of knew, like, I went into the marriage knowing that this was going to be our lifestyle. Like, we probably are going to move a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
In fact, after we got married, I had to move away from my hometown for the first time, and I was very dramatic about it. I only lived 45 minutes away, which is silly now thinking.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
oh gosh,
now you're in Minnesota.
now I'm in Minnesota, and
Yeah.
shortly after, so the first year of our marriage, we lived 45 minutes away, and I like I said, I thought it was the most dramatic thing ever, and I missed my family, I missed our gym, I missed our routine,
Yeah.
in Napa, but one of the things that really got me into the community there was becoming a trainer, becoming a coach, and getting into that gym community in the little town where we were living at.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of always been the theme wherever we go. So
Yeah.
after a year, and this is how crazy the coaching world is. So he worked at UC Berkeley, Cal Berkeley, worked primarily with men's basketball. Head coach there retires. New coach comes in, wipes out the entire staff after a year of there. So we thought
Wow.
we would be there for a while, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then that happened. So then after that, he's like, well, there's this job opening in Washington State. So Washington State University, same position he had there. And he was kind of like, I don't know, Washington State, like there's harsh winters. blah, blah, blah. Now thinking back, they are mild winters compared to Minnesota.
Are they? Okay. Good to know.
Oh, yeah. So Washington State, Pullman, Washington, that was our first move. Well, first move was away from Napa into
Right.
But still in the
Berkeley
same
area.
First one out of
We were
state.
still in the Bay Area. First one
Yeah.
out of state. So we moved to Pullman, and same thing. I find a gym. Washington State University actually has an affiliate for CrossFit. So I was a CrossFit coach.
Okay.
Okay.
So I did WSU CrossFit. I found this little local gym that was going to open, and I just kept driving up the main street over and over until it opened, and finally approached the coach there, and started working as a coach there. So that's how I got myself in that community. Made my friends through the gym. Made my friends through other coaches' wife. So it just really has always been the theme for me is how do I integrate myself in this community so that I can be here without my friends, without my family, without people that I'm used to, being around. And it really made me grow as a person.
Yeah.
And made me kind of be able to go through stretches where my husband was gone. In college, he's not gone as much as he is now with his current job. But still, he travels with the team. So
Yep.
I'm home alone a lot.
Right.
And at the time, we don't have any kids, so we have a dog, and that was at the time very hard for me with my dog finding doggy daycare and all this stuff. But of course, looking back, I'm like, oh gosh, it was easy. Without once the kids come in, it's
like
harder.
pushes you out of your comfort zone because you literally have to find new friends.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your family's. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have two older sisters who are like my best friends. One of them lives in West Virginia, the other is in Napa, but my entire family lives in Napa. My living grandparents, all their kids, which is 8, and then all my mom's brothers and sisters live there. All my cousins, who I have like 30 first cousins.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know is in Napa. So it was definitely hard to leave that. But after Washington State, so 3 years there, my husband got a job at College of Marin, which is junior college in the Bay Area, so San Francisco area, as a head basketball coach there. So he wanted to pursue just as a coach at UC Berkeley and Washington State. He was a strength and conditioning coach, kind of puts him in kind of a bubble there with just doing the strength and conditioning stuff. And his heart is in coaching. He was a high school coach for, I don't know how many years, over 10 years, I think. So he really wanted to get back into coaching. So that's what he did. And so that moved us back to the Bay Area. So we actually decided to go back to Napa. And so we settled in Napa back, with our friend's family. I was so excited. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And he commuted to the college, which is close to San Francisco. And I think his commute was pretty brutal, but he did it. And we were in Napa. And our plan was to start a family while we were in Napa, since we have, our family there, both grandparents and my sister. But it took us a little while to get pregnant with our first son.
Yep.
It was probably about a 2-year process.
Oh, wow.
And
did you have to do any?
Yeah.
did?
And I'm totally open to talking about. Yeah. So we, with my son, and this was in 2019. So the root of the infertility issues that we were dealing with was actually on my end. I was pretty underweight and over exercising, under eating. So I think my body just didn't feel safe. And it's something that I've, did some therapy. I saw a nutritionist. I had to gain 30 pounds even to get pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And at the time it was a huge transition period for me, because I went from, feeling like I look fit and I feel fit, and I was the weight that I wanted to be. And so it was really hard mentally to then have to be like, okay, I'm a trainer, but I have to gain weight. And I struggled a lot because I felt like I kind of was, in a way, my value as a trainer was the way I looked.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Now I feel like our value is on our education, our experience, and so much more. So once, that happened, so we did,
can I ask how old you were?
During that time I was 28.
28. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I was like, it's silly. Like I was a body weight that I am now. And then I decided, oh, I want to look fit, and I want to, I don't know, I just want to gain muscle, whatever it was. And so I started dieting, really extreme dieting, and working out twice a day.
I can absolutely relate to all of
Yes,
this.
you can.
Yeah. So at the time, that's when I lost weight. So and I was getting compliments like, oh, you look great.
I know.
And
what gets
so I
ya.
just kept going and going and going. And we were traveling and I was in a swimsuit. I felt great. But I was very, very obsessed with tracking my food in MyFitnessPal and tracking even the ketchup that I would dip something in, every single calorie that went into my body. And I was under eating fat.
I one time tracked a piece of gum.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know.
I remember that too.
Like
yeah.
there were somebody was like, "Oh, there's so and so much calories in gum," and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "What?"
Yeah, and of course you're eating gum or chewing gum, not eating gum, so you can like forget about being hungry. Yeah. So it was tough, and I knew in the back of my head, like I knew deep down that was the issue, but it was so hard to let go of it. And I remember one time we were eating out and my husband and I were looking at each other and I'm like, you know what? I think I just need to delete MyFitnessPal from my phone because as I'm trying to gain weight, I'm still secretly tracking and it is very unhealthy. And just the stress of tracking and worrying about all of that, I think was the issue that I was having. And there is a name, I think it's hypothalamic amenorrhea. So I didn't have a period for the whole time, like a year and a half.
Okay.
So I lost my period and that's just another clear indicator of, something's up.
Right. It wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
So once we did that, we did, it's called Femera. It's kind of like Clomid. So I did shots and essentially it sends a signal to your body to ovulate.
Okay.
So a lot of tracking, a lot of monitoring. And we did that for 3 months. And after the 3rd month, the doctor said, do you want to do IUI? I think that would be the next step before IVF. I'm like, let's just do it for 1 more month. And we did it for 1 more month and I got pregnant. So
wow.
It was awesome. And actually the day that I took the pregnancy test for, during that time was the day that like the announcement of like the world is shutting down. COVID is here. Yeah. So I mean, it is insane, insane timing, but in a way it was, it was like the silver lining was I was home and I mean, my husband was home a little bit more because the college he was working at, actually our timing, we always said we want to time it to have a baby in the off season for basketball.
Right.
But during that time, we're like, we didn't care. We just wanted to get pregnant.
Right.
So my son was born in November, which is right during basketball season.
Yeah.
But for the first time in the history of like that college, they canceled basketball season because of COVID. So my husband was there through my entire pregnancy and through like his birth and the first like 6 months of his life, essentially.
Wow.
So it was,
COVID was more of a blessing for you guys.
Yeah. And it was still, obviously tough because I didn't have, visitors during that time.
Yeah.
But I didn't care because I was so excited just to have a baby and to have him and he was healthy and everything worked out. So yeah. So during that time when he was 5 months old, we took a trip, I remember, to Mexico and my mother-in-law has a house there. So it was just a little family vacation. And that's when my husband was interviewing for his current job. So at the time he was a junior college head coach and he was interviewing for this job as athletic performance essentially for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it was crazy because he was like doing the classic COVID interview, just like suit on the top, nothing on the bottom.
Boxers on the bottom.
Just Zoom meetings. It's a great opportunity for him. Luckily he got the job. And my son, I think, was at the time 7 or 8 months. So we were like, okay, we have this baby now and we're with our family. It was great. But it's like, now we have to move cross country.
Yeah.
To Minnesota,
which it was just, we were excited.
Yeah.
I know. And honestly, what I thought about Minnesota winters was blizzards and just like darkness for the entire winter. And I'm like, oh, the sun does come out here. Even though it's 10 degrees outside.
Right, exactly.
But it comes out.
It looks like it'll be a nice day. And then you walk out and you're like, ooh, it's like negative 20 degrees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I always wonder why people move to Minnesota. I grew
everybody
up here.
asks us that. Oh my gosh. Everybody, every time I'm like, hey, my husband's job moved us out here.
Yeah.
So
like you're from Napa and you live here.
Yes. Yeah. But but honestly, aside from, we've obviously been here 4 winters now. But aside from that, like it is an amazing place.
Yeah.
And the community that we're in is awesome. It's very family friendly.
Yeah.
Like the indoor facilities here are awesome. Like it's just great. It's designed to,
it's very family friendly.
For sure.
And there's always something to do, whether, I mean, I know a lot of people don't think that there's a lot to do in the winter, but there's so much to do in the winter. Did you, before you moved here, did you like know that people walked on frozen lakes and like all that? Okay.
No. And the funny thing is I have like this, this fear of going on a lake and falling through.
Yeah.
And I've had that fear as a little girl. I don't know what movie I watched that
There
fear
is
was in.
a lot of
There's a lot of
movies where
movies
you
about that, yeah.
fall in the
There's-
ice.
okay,
Yeah,
so-
there is.
Something happened growing up, and I had that fear living in California. And I'm like, what was
Wow.
I thinking? And now I'm here,
Yeah.
and I'm like walking my dog by a frozen pond. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting near it. No, I've not gone on a frozen
You
lake.
haven't?
yet.
You
No.
haven't?
No.
Do you see
Nope.
the amount of messages I get when people see trucks and
Crazy.
and vehicles
Crazy.
on the
oh
lake?
my goodness. No, Lake
don't like
Minnetonka
driving
is
on a
like
lake.
is a big lake
Yes.
near us. And I'm just like, no way. Like the ice fishing looks,
The boys love it.
I mean, I can't even say it looks fun because it's so cold. Oh my
I know,
gosh. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. But
Austin
it
just
is,
sits on a bucket.
no, there
I'm
are
like-
a lot of
Yep.
things that we've definitely learned out, and there's things living in Washington State did kind of, I mean, we've done the shoveling before.
Yep.
I've driven in snow when I lived there and spun out many times, but
Yeah.
here it is a different level. And
Yeah.
and we have to get we had to get a safer vehicle, and
Yep.
I have to learn different things that I didn't, grow up learning,
Right.
yeah, have to do actually. So,
Yeah.
we finally, this year, we finally bought a snow blower and
Yep.
just all the things.
The best.
Washington was a little like
Yeah.
a weaned you
Yes,
onto Minnesota,
exactly,
if you will.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
There you
it
go.
was on it. I don't even remember it snowing when I was there. It was
Mhm.
so mild.
Yeah.
It was a very, and it is obviously not mild compared to California, but it was definitely not as big of a shift as Minnesota has been. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So he got the job when your son
yeah.
was
So he was like 8 months old.
8
yeah.
months old. Okay.
And so he we stayed back for just about a month and a half, and he came here and was starting work, and we had to sell our house there in California, and here we were looking for a house. We're in a rental for a little bit, actually in Lake Elmo, which is on the other side of the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit too far of a commute for my husband downtown. So then we were looking in like these like west suburb areas. So
Yeah.
we looked at like Maple Grove,
Yep.
Plymouth, St. Louis Park, all those little towns or suburb areas, and we settled in a house there, and it's honestly it's been the best
Yeah.
Awesome.
area for us. And
Yeah.
now there, meeting some of my neighbors who are now friends that I will have for the rest of my life, and
Yeah.
with my son, finding activities that I can do with him that'll keep us going out even in the winter. One of the things in Minnesota actually that I love, they have what's called ECFE. I don't know if you guys did this with your
Mhm.
kids.
We did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just remember one of my neighbors who is, like I said, one of my friends that I will have for the rest of my life. I remember her telling me, like, you have to do ECFE. Like, this is how I made some of my best friends.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I went out and, signed them up and got, it was definitely something that was out of my comfort zone to go with, it's like the typical, like, you did it. So it's
Yeah.
like, circle time and,
Yes.
reading stories and things like that.
And then you have
Um,
certain kids that connect, and then you're like, oh, this is,
Yes.
my name's
Yes,
whatever.
absolutely. Yeah. And so from his original like little ECFE group that we did, I have some friends that we are still getting together. I have a friend who comes to like my small group training sessions, and I have and now I have friends for my daughter. So then I did, had my daughter in ECFE. So I mean, these are people that are at our little birthday parties, that are, at play dates, that I'm, hanging out with when, we have these long winters and when my husband's away. So
Yep.
that's definitely one of the things that I am so grateful for.
Right, yeah.
Living here. And it's unique to Minnesota. I don't think like many
Really?
states have that. And I know California doesn't,
Mhm.
because I told my sister, like, you should do this with your son. And I'm like, I looked up our school district in Napa, and I'm like, oh, this does not exist anywhere
Never
else.
mind.
besides
Oh, wow.
here. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a
Yeah.
lot of those like little dance. I don't know, like it's like random. They'll do like dance or painting or whatever.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think is so.
No, yeah, for sure. And there's other things that we did. There's like my gym that we did with the kids, and now we do like Parks and Rec, like
Yep.
sports with
Yep.
them. We haven't made as many friends through that, but definitely through ECFE, like it is awesome, and the teachers are awesome, and the school district that we're in is it's great, and
Yep.
it is just, it's like a real life, like Miss Rachel, I say their teachers, like she is like all their teachers are awesome. So
Yeah.
it's been great. Yeah, the school districts and the school systems here in Minnesota are great.
Midwest
Excited.
nice up here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, the biggest shock was like people don't have fences here, and it's funny because we like as soon as we moved into the house, we just moved 6 months ago, to the same town, different house.
Yeah.
First thing we did was put a fence up, and like none of our neighbors have fences, and I'm like, oh god, we have a dog, so we have to have a fence. And
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think my dog would like respect the what is it, the invisible fence.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
We are We kept debating back and forth. Like, do we want a real fence or do we want an invisible fence? But all of our neighbors have invisible fences.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And luckily the dogs have been doing pretty good with that.
Oh, that's
but
good. Yeah.
I always get nervous.
It's stressful when I'm walking my dog and like all the dogs just like run up
Right.
to the sidewalk.
Right
and
to
I'm like,
the edge.
okay, they stopped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we have a German Shepherd in our neighborhood and he is all black
Yeah.
and he is sneaky.
Yeah.
And he'll come out of nowhere and then he'll just run really quietly at you and I'm like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he stops
Yeah.
every
Yep.
time.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah.
Every
that's
time though, I'm like,
so
oh my God,
crazy.
don't cross the line this time.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Yeah. We have the English Bull Terrier, which is like the Target
Okay.
dog.
Yeah.
Which is silly because when we moved, Target Center and
Mhm.
headquarters Target, I'm like, this is a sign we're supposed to be here.
Yes.
Like, we have the Target mascot. Like we
Yeah.
got it.
You
Yeah.
have the Target
So,
dog.
yeah. Yeah.
So what year did he get his job here?
2020. Yeah, I guess. It was,
2020?
no, 2021. Sorry,
Okay.
My son was born 2020 November. He got the job June of 2021. So
Okay.
and the crazy. So the first year that he was here, he was working with the G League team. So every NBA, it's like a minor league.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every NBA team has a G League, and the G League team for the Timberwolves is in Iowa.
Okay.
So we
Oh.
moved out here. He was working here during the summer at Target Center and in their practice facility there. And we bought a house here. And then he's like, okay, now I have to go to Iowa for 5 months during their season.
Oh boy.
So they put him up in an apartment there. And he's like, just come with me and we'll bring the dogs and we'll bring, we have, I guess, how old is my son at that time? Yes, still very young, like 11 months maybe.
Yeah.
So like, okay, we'll do it. Like, that's what we're going to do. So we bought the house, we leave the house, we go down to Iowa. And I'm like, oh no, like I can't live here. Like this is a small, it was a small apartment, but it's like I have a baby. I'm pregnant actually with my daughter at that time now.
Mm.
I have 2 dogs living on the 13th floor of an apartment. And
Oh.
I know the winters here are pretty tough too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that first year we just decided that it was best for me to go back to California with my mom and
Yeah.
stay there through that season. So I think I was there for 4 or 5 months. So that was incredibly challenging because, my son doesn't understand that like dad's at work and,
Yeah.
and that we can't see him for 4 months.
Yeah.
So what we did was, for my son's birthday, he didn't want to miss his first birthday. We flew wherever he was at. I'm like, okay, so the G League team also travels. And I remember, so we spent his first birthday in Detroit, Michigan, because they were playing the G League team from Detroit. So
Yep.
we were there in like a little hotel. It was pretty memorable anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
It's not what you make.
yeah,
it.
exactly. And then when he came to California for a few games, we met him in California.
Okay.
So during those 4 months, I think we saw him maybe like 4 times.
Wow.
So that was hard. But also I thought that being like by myself with, a young baby and pregnant and 2 dogs was going to be harder.
Mhm.
And I was just intimidated by the winter. And
Yeah.
So that was the first year. Second year, he was just going to be in Minnesota or Minneapolis. So
Yeah.
so that was kind of the first like full year that he was here. So that 2022 would be like his first full season. So he's been with
Okay.
the team for 4 years.
Yeah.
First year being partly with the G League team. So it's been every season it gets easier and easier. So my
Yeah.
daughter, I got pregnant with my daughter when my son was 10 months. So
Okay.
at the time I'm like,
Was that
oh,
a surprise?
Yes,
Okay.
because my son, it took us a
Right.
year and
Yeah.
a half to get pregnant and some fertility treatment with him. I figured I'm like, you know what, like it's not going to happen. Like we'll just
Right.
whatever.
What
Yeah,
happens,
so
it happens. Yeah.
and you hear that so often with with a lot of women that go through IVF and then their second just like a surprise.
Yep.
Right.
Um,
Like fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she came when my son was 17 months old. So she's born in 2022.
Okay.
She just had her 3rd birthday. So then now we're like, okay, so now we have 2 under 2 living away from family. So when my
Yeah.
daughter was born, my mom came and stayed with us for 2 weeks. And while she was here, I'm like, oh, this is easy. Like,
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
still like adrenaline after having a baby.
Yeah.
She left, and then in between the time when my mother-in-law came to stay with us for a little while, I was like, oh my gosh, this is hard.
Yeah.
And it having family or we have a lot of friends here, but people that can just come and clean your house or
Yeah.
help with laundry or
Yeah.
cook you a meal, like that's gold. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like nothing like having your mom come
Yeah.
That's-
and make
that's a thing.
your
Yeah.
favorite food that you
Yep.
had when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. There's just really something special
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
There is.
Yes.
And you feel comfortable with them like cleaning your house
Yeah,
and doing your
exactly.
laundry.
Exactly.
Like your friends, you're not going to be like, hey, do you want to do my laundry?
I know.
Even though they would, but
yeah. And now, like, I with my son when he was born and when we were still living in Napa, I do remember a lot of our friends sent us a meal or cooked a meal for us, and I mean that is so valuable for us, and I try to do that for as much as I can with when my friends have a baby, even just bringing them like a sour, like some bread or something, you know, is a huge help. But so he's been, so after my daughter was born, you know, it was a lot harder with the 2 kids with my husband being gone. So season starts in November. They have 82 games. He travels with the team. Sometimes they're gone 10 days at a time.
Wow.
And that's pretty difficult. When my daughter was a little younger, I would look at the calendar for like the next, 4 months, and I'd be like, okay, here's a 10-day stretch when you're going to be gone. And I would message my sister, my mother-in-law, my mom, be like, who wants to come stay with me during this time? So that happened a lot. So and when that would happen, I have my sister who lives in West Virginia, and she just would drive here. It's a 13-hour drive.
Yeah.
She would drive and stay with me during that time. Super helpful. My mom came a couple times, and my mother-in-law would come a couple times too throughout that time. When, like I said, when they were younger, it was a little bit harder, but it gets easier and easier as like the seasons go on. So
I felt like from 1 to 2 was way harder for me than even 2 to 3.
Yes.
I don't know what it like the first kid. Yes, that was really hard too. But Austin was such a good, like he was just like a great first baby, you know?
Yeah.
And then Nevaeh was a little bit more. She would get constipated a lot, and I don't know what it was, but having 2 was hard.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think so. I think because they're kind of, when they're babies, you can strap them on or whatever. But as soon as they start walking, it's kind of like it gets a little harder.
Or when people say like sleep when the baby sleeps, so you're like, but you can't say that with your second kid because you have a toddler who's like up at 7 a.m.
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
actually, last week it's funny. We got back from California, and we were so tired, and we had a couple late nights. And my son, like he was napping. He doesn't nap anymore because he's 4.5 almost.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're going to come nap with me. And she came over and we all fell asleep for 2 hours. I'm like, this is probably the first time that like I napped when the babies are napping.
Yes.
So it was awesome. Yeah. But So this season, this has definitely been the easiest, quote unquote, easiest season for us. I feel like it just managing everything was easier for me. With the kids being older, like they can play together now while I'm cooking dinner.
Right.
I feel like the last few seasons, basketball season, I would have to like DoorDash at least twice a week because I just couldn't cook dinner because my daughter was clinging on to me. And so it's just
And how do you? I feel like Ethan is really good at this. Like he's really good at introducing himself to other people, and I'm surprisingly very shy when it comes to meeting people that, like, if I'm out and about, he'll be like, I met this person in the Y in the hot tub or in the sauna. I'm like, what did you talk about?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how do you just start? Yeah. I'm bad at just starting a conversation unless I'm like saying, hey, I like your shoes. And then you keep talking.
Yeah.
How did you besides the you did the classes?
Yeah.
How do you find your crew when you're moving a lot?
Yeah, I think even before kids, I think being a coach and being a trainer.
Yeah.
So the gyms that I would work at, especially CrossFit gyms, if you're familiar with CrossFit gyms, it's a very community-based type of workout. So I think people come back because of that. I don't think the workouts are pretty extreme.
Hard. Yeah.
But I think people come back because of the people and the community. And you hear that so often. So everywhere that I've moved, I've kind of integrated myself into a gym and that's easy. And number 1, I get a job. And then number 2, I get a workout. Number 3, I meet people.
Right.
So that's what I did everywhere that I've moved. When I first moved away from Napa, then up to Washington, then back to Napa, even though I had my friends and my family there, I still, integrated myself into a different CrossFit community there or just a gym community. And then here, being a mom, I kind of have to make my friends through other other kid stuff. But the thing that I've done now, and this actually has just been a year, so like 1 year anniversary that I started doing small group training sessions out of our basement of our house.
Yeah.
When we first moved to the first house we moved, we have like this big really awkward bar. It was an older house.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my husband, like, we just have to tear that bar out and then just put some gym flooring down. And I just want to start coaching out of our out of our basement. And I want to start with other moms. And I want to have like this, I had this idea in my brain that I was going to have half our basement be a playroom and half the basement be the workout space. And every mom can come in here and bring their kids. Their kids are playing. We're working out for 30 minutes. And that's what I did. And I had a few people sign up, and there's a local mom page, a group on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I just would put it out there like, hey, starting this group. If you're interested, DM me. And I got a couple people like that. And then when we just moved to a different house 6 months ago. First thing we did was tear the carpet out.
Yeah.
Put our little gym floor down.
Yep.
And then just recently, actually last week, I started a new class for earlier postpartum moms. So my specialty after being a mom, I did a pregnancy and postpartum certification.
Oh, cool.
To be able to have the knowledge to train through pregnancy and postpartum. And it's just something that I think that all the trainers and instructors and people that work with fitness should have, because the chances that a pregnant person comes into your class, or most likely someone has had a baby that is in your class. And there are considerations that you need to take when you're in, especially early postpartum.
Yep.
So I just started a class there where I have like as early as 6 weeks postpartum moms that, from that are as early as 6 months, 6 weeks postpartum.
Yeah.
Starting to work out. And it's kind of creating that, it's getting better now where there's this gap between like, okay, you're cleared to exercise after 6 weeks. OB gives you the green light. And then now you go to the gym and you're like, well, now what? What do I do? Do I go back to the exercise that I was doing before?
And everything is so different.
It's so different.
Oh my God. I remember, and I was a gymnast. I like pride myself in being athletic.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I can't even do a sit up.
Yeah.
Like what is my body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
That especially the first one, you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I don't even like
just getting off of
my
like
body.
a lying position from bed. That was like so hard.
I'm like, I have to roll over.
Yeah. And I remember as a trainer before having kids being like, well, I don't know if I want to do this certification because I've never been a mom. I don't know what it feels like. I've never gone through pregnancy. And my husband looks at me, he's like, well, have you had an ACL injury before? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, if you had a client who had an ACL injury, would you like just turn him away? I'm like, no, you're right. Like I should know. I should have this knowledge.
Yeah.
So now I'm so glad I do. And I give moms so much more grace, even finding 30 minutes to work out. My classes are 30 minutes because I feel like an hour-long class, it's really hard for moms to get away even for 1 hour out of the house. So it's just quick strength and conditioning workouts, and we take in consideration all of the things that happen after having a baby and delivering. So
and you have that like double thing, like you can bring your kids because that's
a big plus for me.
That was a huge thing when I had Austin. We didn't have a gym here where they could do like childcare at the time. It was until he was like maybe 1 or 2. I was pregnant with Nevaeh, I remember, but when our local Y opened and they finally they had childcare.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like a game changer.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you don't have that, it's like you don't want to get a babysitter to work out for an hour.
Absolutely.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know like there are a lot of CrossFit gyms be like, oh, bring your kids, but your kids have to stay in this little area here. I'm like, my daughter would not stay in there. She'd run after me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that has been a way for me through this time in our lives when my husband is working a lot and traveling a lot. Where I can still do something that I love. I mean, I remember when my daughter was like maybe 8 months old, my son was 2, starting to build up a little bit of resentment because my husband is like living his dream by being a coach in the NBA. And I was not. I had to put my career on hold. I mean, I have a master's degree. I have multiple certifications. I want to, I wanted to do something, but it was not the time for me at that moment because my daughter had a hard time separating from me, so I couldn't get a babysitter. I couldn't go work at an actual gym. So I do remember at that time thinking, you know what, my husband is living his dream career wise, but I'm living my dream as a mom. And just shifting my mindset made such a huge difference for me during that time. And then when she got older, then that's when I had the idea of like, oh, I just need to work this into my life now. And have my kids next to me watching mommy work. And they have learned so much even at a young age of 4 and 3. Like my daughter can do squats perfectly. She can do sit-ups, push-ups. I mean, they know.
Train them young.
They know what mommy does now. And there are some hard days when my daughter is clinging to my leg and I'm like trying to teach a class. But everybody's super understanding, and it's become such a fun group to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible for you, because I feel like so many people in that situation, whether it's male or female, and their spouse is like traveling a lot, can end up kind of going into this,
Yeah.
Well,
And,
resentment only just
rolls
into
exactly.
more things than that. Then it's like, I'm angry at you for just doing normal things. And you're like, because you're living your life and I'm
Right.
yours is different at that moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the mindset shift that I had to make. And there are still days that are hard and that I still kind of have thoughts like, resentment thoughts and feelings. But, we have a great life and we have had great opportunities as a family. And it is a great community also with other wives of coaches and players. And, and the family opportunities that we have with the team are amazing. And, my kids are growing up, meeting these players and having this life that they're like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're going to tell them about this one day and they're not going to believe us. Like, obviously my older son, they'll probably remember at this
He'll
point,
probably be like, no big deal. Like, I met.
Yeah.
Or I hung out with. Yeah. I don't even know their names, but Anthony Edwards, I know his name.
You know that one.
I know that.
Yeah.
And I know that they beat. We just talked. Thank you.
You know what's funny about that is I didn't know this, but the Minnesota Timberwolves were the Lakers until I think 1989. I don't know when the year.
What?
So,
what?
But yes. So then there was a shift, and I don't know much of the history, but it used to be the Minnesota Lakers, and that makes more sense.
That
Really?
does make more sense.
Like
that
lakes.
does.
We have a land of 10,000 lakes.
Yeah.
We should have kept that.
Yeah.
And you got to get pretty far north to find a Timberwolf. But.
I mean, for real.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, how do you guys, because he's gone so much, how do you stay connected?
Yeah. So our communication is great. I think that has been one of our strengths throughout our marriage is we're really good at communicating. There's nothing he's ever feeling that I don't know about or vice versa. I know there's some people that are like, we have our one date where we have a date night and we have a sitter lined up. That has never been us because of how, our lifestyle is. But we just, honestly, just hanging out at home and just connecting that way has been during the season is what we do.
Right.
And just being together as a family. So I think when we are together, we all want to be together as a family with our kids. So it is hard to just like leave them. And, we don't do anything crazy. It's just, we just are pretty normal, and like I said, just communication has been the best thing. We FaceTime when he's gone multiple times a day with the kids and with myself. Yeah. And we talk, about everything. So
do your kids ever get sad when he leaves?
Yeah. Actually, that's something we're working through just this last week. When he's gone, they're like, I want daddy. And then he's here and then like, no, I don't want daddy. I want my. So it like shifts. So it's almost like they have like these feelings that they can't explain. And my husband was just talking to actually one of the players who was telling him this, and I don't know the science behind this, but they can't they can't work through the feelings of daddy being gone until they're like a certain age. Like they don't understand why, and they can't put that together.
Right.
So they might just act out and they might just throw more fits that day or that week. And we had a pretty hard week. The last week because we traveled to California. We came back. We had a delay where we didn't get home till 2 a.m. Then we're back. So sleep is kind of funky.
Yeah.
They were getting over an illness. And then my husband was back. So it was just all these things happening. And that's how it presents itself with them is, just big feelings.
Emotions,
big feelings. But they understand the concept of it. They know like, one of the things that's pretty cool that he does, he'll FaceTime them from like the hotel and then he'd be like, oh, look, you can see that big building there. And then whenever we're watching the game on TV, they pass that big building. They're like, oh, that's the building that we saw that daddy, showed us. So they can make the connection there. But yeah, and we just make the most out of when he is home. And that's the biggest thing for him is, when he is home, how can I spend like the most quality time with my kids? And sure, he's tired from a long day of travel and like a long day of work, but they want to play, they want to build a fort. They want to play Tickle Monster. They want to play hide and seek. They want to do all the things. And he just has to like rally through that. Yeah.
Right.
So it is definitely hard for them. But I think, I think that we're trying to implement like this whole concept of like hard work and, all these little things with the kids. But I think they'll definitely realize that one day for sure.
Yeah. It's like, our kids are older, but when he traveled a lot, it was only really Gray that always had a hard time with you leaving.
Yeah.
And he's still kind of like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like he likes us all to be together all the time.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah. Oh.
And so, but when he would leave, it's like he would get like this panic, like, no, I don't want you to. He'd cry.
Yeah.
And I
That was
can't,
hard.
it's like, it's hard for Eth.
Yeah.
It's hard for me.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you still got to go to
Yeah.
work.
I know.
You know?
I know. And I can see that. I think it'll go in waves. I think
Sure.
it'll
Yeah.
probably, when they need him in a different way as they get older, I think it's going to be hard. And I think my husband also wants to be there for them when they start, going through these bigger moments in their lives and being
Yeah.
around for that, like whether they play sports, whether they do whatever they are into, he wants to be there for them. So it's just going to be interesting what our life will look like. I mean,
Yeah.
it could, what I don't know what it'll look like in
Right.
2 to 5 years or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Especially when they're in all those sports. Like we're in the sports age now.
I
And
love that,
it's
yeah.
insanely
Lot
busy.
a lot of dividing and conquering.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you got to go here. I got to, because I
Yeah.
can't, like if Nevaeh has dance and Grayson has baseball, luckily Austin's driving now. But
Mhm.
at the time, I'm like, Nevaeh was in gymnastics,
Oh.
Austin was in football,
Yeah.
Grayson was in baseball. We're like, or football too. And we're like, okay, we can
Yeah.
make it
No,
all work.
that's a lot.
But
That's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see kind of what they're into. We've done like basketball, like through the
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, and actually my son starts t-ball or baseball on Monday, and so it's just we're just dabbling in things, and they enjoy it, but it's just for fun right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was your
Yeah.
husband into basketball? Like,
yeah,
was he
yeah,
a player?
Yeah. So he, oh gosh, like I don't know it. Like I obviously didn't know him at that time.
Yeah.
But he played, high school basketball, and then he, I think, went through like 4 different junior colleges. We joke about like all the junior colleges he went to and played basketball there, and then
yeah.
I think when he went to a 4-year college, he played for a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
not like super competitive, but definitely a big passion of his for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is going to be a stupid question, and Ethan's probably going to laugh at me for saying this. Is he tall?
Yes.
Is he?
I was thinking the same thing. Is
Okay.
he like 6'5"?
Funny. Here we
or-
go with a
He's
Tom
6
Segura joke.
No,
Ethan's about
no,
to say,
no.
but
He's 6'4", but the funny thing
okay.
is,
Wow.
all my family knows Scott as like, or my husband as being like big, right? He's
Yeah.
6'4", he's the tallest the tallest guy they've probably ever seen. And then he's like next to these basketball players now, and he looks small, and he probably will hate me for saying that. Because it like it is the
wild.
funniest thing. So he's like
Yeah.
warming up. So Rudy Gobert, I think he's 7'1", one of their tallest players. And he does this thing where he goes like on these like balancing things. So he's like higher up even more than 7'1". And then my husband's at the bottom, like trying to help him balance. And you can just see like, wow, like he is at his waist.
Yeah.
7'1"?
Yeah.
I don't even know in my brain like what that looks like.
No, it's pretty wild.
It's like when you see tall people. It's so stupid. Ethan laughs all the time because Tom Segura is his favorite comedian,
Yeah,
and he talks
I love
about
that. I love
tall
that too. Yeah.
people or
Yeah.
tall guys, and they always say like, "Are you in basketball?
Do you play
Oh, that's
basketball?
funny.
I have a tall friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny. That's funny. Oh no, I love all the Minneapolis has a lot of really fun comedy shows, and
Yeah, they do.
we're just not in a season where we can go to like a 10 p.m. show right now. But
Yep.
I'm a huge comedy fan too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love Tom Segura. I love his partner Bert Kreischer. Like they
Yeah.
do podcasts together. I love them so
Uh-huh.
much.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, eventually we'll get to go to comedy
Yeah.
shows again.
Yeah.
We did that was
Different
like our
stage of life.
that
Yeah.
was our
Yeah.
main like date night for my husband and I. Like
Okay.
when we lived in the
Fun.
Bay Area, like San
Yeah.
Francisco Comedy Club. Like that was like our jam. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And so he's 12 years older
12
than
years
you.
older than I am.
Yeah.
So it definitely, and it's funny because it doesn't seem like it because
Yeah.
he is like such a goofball. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like I've always kind of carried myself like a little older. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm 33, and I'm about to be 34, and he'll be 46 actually on Tuesday.
Oh,
This is birthday
happy
Tuesday.
early
They have
birthday.
they have a
Yep.
game that day, I think.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's hopefully good luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was definitely a little crazy when we first started dating. Like
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
remember like my sisters were like, wait, what is, my sister's young,
So how old was he and you when you
19 and 32, 30,
Oh, okay.
31. He like swears that I was older. He's like, I thought you were older.
Yeah.
It was never weird for me. Like,
Yeah.
and it was never weird for him. And my dad, one of the things he always talked about is like, you know what, as long as he's respectful, he's
right?
a kind person. He
Mhm.
is, he makes an effort to communicate with us. Like,
Yeah.
great. He makes you happy. Amazing.
Right.
So we got married. I was 22 when we got married, and he was
Okay.
34.
Yeah.
So it's a funny story when we got married. So his brother is like performer. He was like broadcaster for CBS, Fox, like, very comfortable in front of a camera. So very, very great speech.
Yeah.
So he had this, like, I don't even remember. I wish we had someone recording, but we didn't have a videographer. He said, he brings out this poster board, and I couldn't see it quite yet, but he says, his brother has always been a big inspiration for him. The moment he walked across the stage in high school. But little did he know that across town on the playground, a kindergartner named Julie would be, and he had a poster holding, like, a picture of his brother walking across the stage, getting his high school diploma, and me, like, missing teeth.
Yeah.
Like, school photo.
Oh,
so it was,
my God.
At that time, I don't think half the people there knew that I was that young. You know, I think people assumed I was like 27.
You're like, that cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah. So it was just a funny joke at the time. But, and it's just, everything has worked out the way it was supposed to be. And, he was able to get farther in his career without, me being like, we got to have a baby now, at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And, so we waited, I think we were married for over 5 years before we had a baby. So that was fun. We did a lot of traveling and did a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's, it's a funny story about
Do you guys ever have like conversations where you say something and he's like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about? Like childhood things?
Not so much with like more so on his end. Like,
yes, okay.
There's all these movies that he's like had me watch that I have no interest in watching, or he like references things that I'm like, don't know.
Like,
it used to happen more, but now I'm like, I've caught on a little bit. And he, like, I used to be super into like race cars and like sports cars, imports, and he was like classic old schools, like Mustang and Chevelles and blah, blah, blah. And now he's converted me. So now I love old classic cars. And it's just like
muscle
one
cars.
thing that was just kind of silly. But we're just parents, and we're just, it's just us now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. Just the thoughts that people have, like when obviously at an earlier age, it seems to be more of a big deal.
Right.
I mean, we were only 3 years apart, but you were sharing your story. So it triggered one in my mind. I used to work with a guy, Eli, at Sella.
Oh, yeah.
And he would razz me every day, like making jokes about me, dating or marrying. And he'd be like, to the point where he's like, "Oh, when you guys go out to dinner on dates, do you have to burp her after?" Like, I'm like, "Are you serious, dude?" He would go. He was ruthless. But I'm like, that's a 3-year age difference, dude. Come on.
No, it was funny when I do now thinking back when we first started dating. I remember wanting to dress like older. Like I was like, I changed the way I dressed a little bit just when I would be like around maybe his friends. And Napa is like a small town, small town. And some of his friends or people that he knew were my teachers. So that was a funny, and like they would give me a look like, "Oh, hey, like you're dating Scott." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." Like, so it's just funny. And now I'm like the opposite. I'm getting wrinkles. I'm like, "No, no, I wanted to stop now."
You're like, "Nope, now backwards again."
Yep.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know why anybody gets weird about it, because it's like I'm not marrying you. I'm married. Why do you care?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it was a big deal, but it wasn't. But for me, it was never a big deal.
Yeah.
Like I said, but it definitely, other people, I can definitely think that they were saying some stuff. But
yeah.
It all worked out.
So what do you feel like is the coolest thing that you've gotten to do with him? Like, in his job and stuff?
Well, we go to a lot of games, so that's really fun, and we, with the Timberwolves specifically, we have an incredible like family director who they do a lot of events outside of basketball. So they'll do some events during like Halloween, during Christmas. They'll do fundraisers. They'll do volunteering events. We have a fun family room that we get to go into when we have games.
Yeah.
So there's literally somebody on staff that is a family director,
coordinates
for the
families,
coaches' families and players' families, and okay, that's cool.
And there's a lot of unity on the team with the, like I said, coaches' wives and even players' wives. So I know players' wives a little bit different lives than us, coaches' wives.
Right. Yeah.
But still, like I'm friends with a lot of the players' wives, and very, very wonderful group of women.
Yeah.
And a lot of great kids and kids that are my friends or my kids' friends now. We don't travel with him, like to him a lot whenever they're on away games, but some cool opportunities that we've had is during Christmas time. Whenever they're on the road during Christmas time, we will travel to wherever they're at. and they'll have really fun parties for the families and make it really special for the kids.
Yeah.
So that is something that we definitely don't take for granted. Like very, very lucky. We did get to travel to Paris with our kids.
Oh, wow.
You know, he had to train a couple guys there. Specifically, Rudy,
I want to go there.
Is from France. Yeah,
you're like, I'm coming with on that
there's a nonstop that leaves at 10 p.m. So then you get to sleep on the plane overnight.
My friend told me that too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the one that I would probably take.
She just said she wants to go there for her 20th.
I would love to.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like she was doing her. I watched her on her Instagram story. She's just like my facial girl, but she was doing her skincare on the airplane before she went to bed.
That's
I'm like,
funny.
why? I love this vibe.
You
of
would
it,
totally.
but,
You would rock that. Yeah. No. So that was a really fun experience. That was 2 years ago. So yeah, if there is a player that, for example, needs somebody to be there for him, you know, during the off season, then he has to go, you know, work with them. And we were lucky enough to tag along.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with our kids. And it was like their first big trip. We've never done a family vacation before. That was obviously it was for work technically, but it was, you know, kind of the one thing we've done as a family. That was really, really fun.
And how are your kids like traveling? Are they're
great.
used to it now? And they're
So with my kids, actually this last travel that we had to California, I feel like really disrupted their routine and
it takes a while for them to get back on that routine too.
But my son, he has his own like Sky Miles, like little thing, you know, with Delta. So we've traveled, they've been on over 30 flights in 4 years. And when we would travel back to California quite a bit, especially when it was just my son and I, we would travel back to California. And then when I was pregnant with my daughter and when she was born, first 2 years, we don't have to pay. She's a lap child.
Yeah.
We traveled back to California a lot. And I just wanted my parents and my family to kind of be there through all the stages of their first, few years of life.
Yeah.
So they've done a lot of traveling. And that specific trip, that was obviously the longest one. It was almost 10 hours on the flight. But we bring, big tray of snacks and a lot of little things. It goes in waves with how hard it is and easy to travel with kids. It was easy when they were just sitting on your lap and then hard when they're trying to walk around and then easy again when they can sit and watch a little show.
Yep.
And then hard. It just kind of goes in waves. But for the most part, they are great travelers.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So when you first came in here, I loved how you basically were like how did you put it? You bloom
bloom wherever you're planted.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually had a friend in my time during when we lived in Washington State. She gave me a shirt that said that. It said bloom wherever you're planted. And my mother-in-law always says that that's kind of like my vibe whenever we move. And it's something that, some of my family members, my sister is just like, I don't know how you do it. Like living away from family and just like being on your own essentially. And it's like, it's this mindset that you have to have because number one, I don't have a choice. I can't choose to go. I could go back and live with family, but then I'm not with my husband and together as a family. But so it's kind of this mindset that I know that I want to have whenever this happens. One of the reasons why I am enjoying Minnesota so much is I know that we probably won't be here forever. We can be here for 3 more years, 5 more years, 1 more year. We just don't know with my husband's career. And I am always going to try to make the best out of wherever I'm at and take in all the beauty that it is to live in different parts of the U.S. And hopefully not the world. I don't know. My husband sometimes talks about like, oh, there's this job in Japan. I'm like, no. I don't know if I can do that.
Like, wait a second. Wait a second.
But it's just, I have a friend who her husband played for the Timberwolves and then now he's playing in a Japanese league and she's there with her 2 kids and she is such an amazing mom and she's integrating herself into the culture and into that world. Yeah. And I think you just kind of have to do that and you have to have this mindset of wanting to put yourself out there and make friends, even though there were times when all I wanted to do is just stay home and it's hard to get out with 2 kids.
Yeah.
I knew that it would be better in the long run to kind of make myself do these things.
Right.
Both kid related things. And with one of the mom groups that I have with my daughters, like old ECFE group, we also do mom nights. So it's not just with the kids. Now we do like mom only nights. And those are the ones I can't make all of those because if my husband's home, great. He's home. One time I got one of my old neighbors to watch the kids. So I'm like, I just got to go for 2 hours. Like I just got to go get away. Even driving here, like I'm like, okay, 20 minutes, no kids, nothing. Yeah. It was like a little vacation.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think too, it's like no matter what situation you're in, you do have to consciously make a decision on, am I going to make the best out of this, or am I going to just complain about the situation I'm in? And because at the end of the day, that doesn't ever go, it's not helpful.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even when you're going through really, really hard things like Ethan and I have been through, or you're moving as much as you are, like you have to make that conscious decision to go, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to make the best of it.
Yeah. And my husband is a very, very positive guy. Like everybody knows it. Like all his friends around him, he has amazing friends. And the people around him, they all know that he is a very positive guy. I mean, he's a coach. He's like, he's a great coach. He's an amazing at building relationships and I think that that's incredibly helpful for me, even though, he does travel a lot, but we are together a lot. And I think having him support me and all the things that I do as a mom, even like, okay, hey, you want to convert the basement into a gym? Let's do it. Like, what do we need? And supporting me in that.
Very important.
Yeah. So we balance each other out a lot.
Right.
And, I there are hard days like anything in life, where I wish that my mom was here. I wish that my sisters were here. I wish that I had my family here. And it is a little lonely, but I think whenever that happens, okay, I see that like I'm getting a little down.
Yeah.
Okay, let's book a trip back and visit some family.
Yep.
And having kind of like the luxury and the liberty to do that is huge for me. Yeah.
What would you do, or how would you recommend if you didn't have that luxury to, go to where you wanted to go? Like, what would you suggest?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because this last year we've done less travel. And because we moved to a different house and we're like, okay, we just got to budget a little bit more.
Yep.
Right. I can't be flying and now I have to pay for 3 air,
Yeah.
And it could definitely add up. There was the year that my daughter was not 2 yet, we were traveling to Napa like every 3 months. And it was great. And I was seeing family and I was at birthday parties that I, normally would miss. And that's really important. But there comes a time like now that I'm realizing that their routine is really important and that we just got to be home and, we have to have that longer stretch. So now there are days when I'm like, oh gosh, like I really miss my parents or I really miss my sisters and whatnot. But I think even just putting yourself out in your own community and finding those people that are going to care about you and your kids, I think that's important. And whether it's through activities that your kids do or something that is a special interest to yourself. I keep coming back to the gym. I think some people, especially smaller gyms, I was a CrossFit coach for a long time, and people think that it's very intimidating, but it's really some of the most welcoming people. That's a huge one. It is a little harder when you have kids to get out there and to be able to make new friends and be able to maintain relationships. And it is exhausting also to, you're a mom and you're dealing with kids and then you have to like go make friends. That's hard. And, you have to get out of your PJs and whatnot. But I think that relationships are just so important. And I think it comes naturally to me. I know we were talking about this, how like you can have a conversation with anybody, and that's how I am. And that's how my personality is. I love meeting new people. I love having conversations. I love, hanging out with people. I think that it's just my personality. It's just the way I am.
Yeah.
So definitely, getting out
like
there for sure.
Branching out a little bit,
Yep.
and putting and like you said, being open to it.
Yeah.
That alone, I think sometimes when you're in a place of like, not right now, people read that really well.
Right.
And so it's like you do have to be more open to the opportunity, kind of.
Yeah. And if you are in a place where you don't have a lot of family and friends, and if it's hard for you to get out, like even hosting play dates, like if bring people to you, if you feel comfortable doing that, or a meetup at a park, for example. So there are, it's just getting yourself out there, and it's hard because then it can get really lonely. And, it in here in Minnesota, like the winter is super long. There's, it's funny because people come out of hibernation, after, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen my neighbors.
I know. Everybody's outside walking their dogs.
I think that too. I'm like, look at all these people outside.
I know.
I haven't seen people in years.
So everybody's, inside in the winter, but even just choosing one thing to do, just one thing, it doesn't have to be a lot of things. I think sometimes when we have a lot of activities, it can be overwhelming.
Yep.
But even just choosing one thing, you know, that you can do and that'll force you to have conversations. And there was times when I would go like a week without having like a face-to-face adult conversation. And that is hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah. And then I would get to the first adult, like maybe the dentist or like some like random, you know, thing that I'm doing. I'm like, just blah, 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 blah. I have
giving them a hug. They're like, whoa.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But when you are like, when you have kids, I think that was the hardest thing for me personally too, was once I was a nanny for however many years. And then once, you know, he went to kindergarten, I was like, okay, I have my kids. I didn't talk to like adults.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd just be like, Ethan, tell me about your day. Because like, I just didn't have, I'm just, there's a, you know, having a newborn and a 2-year-old, you're just talking 2-year-olds, or you have a movie on a loop. Yeah. And you're like, that's all I know is freaking Frozen in cars. That was their time.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. And even just talking phone calls. Like I talk to my mom at least twice a day, every single day. And it is just like a quick phone call before she goes to work and like, how are the kids doing? And then in the evening, whether it's a FaceTime call or just a phone call, I mean, I talk to her every single day. And I'll talk to my sisters every, you know, a couple times a week. Yeah. My mother-in-law, you know, and just even that just kind of like puts you in a better mindset.
Yeah.
Just having
it's like
that
puts you on focus kind of.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions?
No, one question that I had thought of that, and maybe you guys haven't had this discussion, but I know you said like once the kids get older, your husband's like, I want to be more involved, you know, maybe coaching them and stuff. Have you guys had conversations about what that might look like, or what he would potentially do with his career, continuing to do kind of what he loves to do and what you love to do, opening a gym? I don't know.
No, there's actually there's a few coaches that he knows and that he looks up to that have done that have, or like even in the NBA that stop working for a stretch of time and become high school coaches just to be able to coach their kids. And that's something that we definitely have talked about. And, you know, we have several years until we get to that point.
Right.
Yeah. And that is something that I will 100% support him. And I think, you know, my husband, he is not, how do I say it? He is not open to the idea of stepping down a level wherever he goes. In fact, like when he was at Washington State, like leaving a very great job there to go down to not down, but to a junior college level, you know, and he was able to do so much there because he was following his own path. And so he definitely, you know, that's definitely something we've talked about, and that would be great. And we won't know what that's going to look like until we get to that point. I mean, he would love it if our son plays basketball, or daughter, but who knows? You know? And it's funny because my daughter now, she's the one that's more into like shooting the ball in the little Tykes basketball hoop. Whereas my son was the one that was like all about it. They both are huge basketball fans, but we will explore everything for them.
I have never been to a Timberwolves game. Now that I'm just thinking about it right now, I'm like, I've been to Twins. Yeah. I've been to the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably the closest you've come as we were at the Target Center for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, it is. They are so fun. And
that's what I've heard.
So fun. I mean, Minnesota fans are incredible. Like, it is wild. I mean, it was so loud. We were there last week for one of the games, and it was so loud. My kids had headphones on, but they were still covering their ears.
Jeez. Yeah.
So definitely had to
Gray's
leave
got
after a while.
sensitive ears.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
no, but next season for sure we'll have to get you guys there.
Oh my gosh, we would love to go.
Would be
fun. That would be
awesome.
Such a blast.
Not that there's no more games left, but it is nearly impossible to get in there during the playoffs.
I figured.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have friends that are in Texas that they're like, should we fly back for the playoffs? They were asking on Instagram, Catherine and Raphael, because they're huge Timberwolves fans.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, I need to
I think they went to like all the home games when they lived up here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know.
I'm
like, we're going to have to go. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
This is so
I feel
fun.
like there was so many tidbits of just like mom life and travel life and different things that
all over the
place.
Great
takes. I love it.
Yeah.
I already think the name of the podcast episode is going to be Bloom Where You're Planted.
Yeah.
And you are like living at the epitome of Bloom Where You're
I
Planted.
know, perfect
like
background here with all the flowers. Amazing.
It's like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
No, but I just want to commend you on just the outlook on everything, no matter how hard it is.
Absolutely.
You know, being a kind of a solo parent a lot of the time while your husband's traveling, like instead of just kind of wallowing in it and pity and stuff. You're just, like you said,
Yeah.
bloom where you're planted.
Yeah.
You're literally blooming. You're
Mhm.
creating a space to,
Absolutely.
train other women and
Yeah.
finding your passion and just, how you balance that all
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
good on you for that.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you so
incredible.
much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, you guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Later.
Bye.